Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the channel. With the veil between worlds at its thinnest and the nights growing longer, I thought it was the perfect time to share some stories that will make you think twice before you blow out your jack-o'-lantern. These are tales whispered in the dead of night, short, sharp, and designed to linger long after you've turned off the lights. So gather close, turn down the volume just enough to hear that strange noise from the other room, and let's begin. Our first story is called The Knock. The other night, I was sitting at my kitchen table, lost in the simple joy of carving a pumpkin. The knife scraped against the tough orange flesh, and the sweet, earthy smell filled the air. I was just finishing up the jagged smile when I heard it, 3 sharp taps on my front door. Knock, knock, okay. It was late, well past the time for trick-or-treaters. I put the knife down, wiped my hands, and walked to the door. Peeking through the peephole, I saw nothing but my empty porch, leaves skittering across the steps in the wind. I shrugged it off, probably just the wind playing tricks, and went back to the kitchen. But when I looked at my pumpkin, a cold dread washed over me. The grin I had carved was wider now, stretched into an impossible, mocking smile that reached almost to its sides. I didn't sleep much that night. The next morning, the police found another pumpkin on my neighbor's porch. It was carved with a new face, my face, frozen in a silent scream. Next, we have a tale for all you partygoers. This one is called The Mask. It was the biggest Halloween party of the year, and I, of course, had left my costume to the last minute. Scrambling through the dusty attic, I found an old, cheap-looking plastic mask tucked away in a forgotten chest. It was a simple, pale face with a generic, slightly agonized expression. Perfect. At the party, it was a huge hit. People kept complimenting my dedication to the character. Your screams are so realistic. One person shouted over the music. How do you do that without moving your lips? Another asked, laughing. I just played along, shrugging, thinking they were just enjoying the spirit of the night. It wasn't until I got home, exhausted, and tried to take the mask off that the true horror began to sink in. I pulled and tugged, but it felt stuck, almost fused to my skin. Panicked, I ran to the bathroom mirror, and that's when I saw it. The mask had no eye holes. And as I stood there, staring at my own unseeing reflection, a terrified scream filled the room. It took me a horrifying moment to realize I wasn't the one screaming. Let's move on. Are you locking your doors yet? You might want to after this story, the trick-or-treater. I love seeing the kids in their costumes, so I always make sure to have the best candy on the block. The doorbell rang, and I opened it to see a small girl dressed as a classic witch, complete with a pointy hat and a little broom. She was adorable. Trick or treat. She chirped. I smiled and dropped a handful of chocolate bars into her bag. Happy Halloween, I said as she turned and skipped down the path, disappearing into the darkness. I closed the door, feeling that warm, happy glow of the holiday. A few minutes later, I went upstairs to grab a sweater, and that's when I saw them. A trail of small, muddy footprints leading from the landing, up the stairs, and into the hallway. Child-sized footprints. I live alone. My heart hammered against my ribs as I backed away slowly. The scariest part? The mud is still wet. This next one will make you question every prank call you've ever received. It's called The Phone Call. It was Halloween night, and I was settled in for a horror movie marathon. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. A text from an unknown number. I rolled my eyes, expecting a wrong number text, but the message made my blood run cold. It read, "I'm in your house." I laughed it off. Classic Halloween prank. My friends knew I was a sucker for a good scare. I texted back, "Very funny, Chris. The acting in this movie is scarier than you are." I turned my attention back to the screen, but the movie was in a dark scene, and the TV was just a black, reflective surface. I glanced at my reflection, and then I saw it. In the dark screen, My reflection was smiling back at me, a wide, predatory grin. But my own face, the one I could feel, was frozen in dawning horror. I wasn't smiling at all. And for our final story tonight, a cautionary tale about leaving things unattended. This is the candy bowl. Knowing I'd be busy, I decided to leave a large bowl of candy on my front porch. I taped a little friendly sign to it that said, "Please take one, Happy Halloween." I figured it was the honor system, a nice gesture for the neighborhood kids. A few hours passed and curiosity got the better of me. I opened the door to check on the bowl. It was completely empty. Wow, they must have really loved that candy, I muttered to myself, picking up the bowl to bring it inside. But as I lifted it, I noticed it wasn't quite empty. There was something inside. It was another note, folded neatly at the bottom. The handwriting was messy, almost a child's scrawl. I unfolded it. It said, "Your turn." I frowned, confused, and was about to toss the note when something rattled inside the bowl. I looked closer. The bowl wasn't empty. It was filled to the brim with teeth, small, milky white baby teeth. And on that note, we'll end our little session of stories. Remember to check your locks, don't trust strange reflections, and maybe, just maybe, hand out the candy yourself this year. Thank you so much for listening and sharing this spooky evening with me. If you enjoyed these tales and want to hear more, please give this video a like. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next descent into the dark. Until next time, stay safe and sleep tight. Or try to.